In this video, I'm going to give you a super fast and simple setup for Claude Code with OpenRouter. And OpenRouter is a aggregate model provider essentially, so you can use Claude Code with any of the available LLMs on OpenRouter. So the major benefit here is cost savings. You don't have to pay as much for the Anthropic models. You can use cheaper ones that are open source, for instance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hop right into this and show you how to do this. So first off, we're going to have to do Node.js. So we need to download and install this. So you can go to nodejs.org to do this, go to the download page and find the version for your system. So if you're using Windows, Mac, Linux, just select the right one, use the LTS version, and then copy this installation code. You're going to then go into VS Code or any other IDE editor here, and we're going to open a terminal. When you open that terminal, you can paste that code in and then hit enter to install it. I don't need to because I already have it. From there, you need to install Claude Code. So you're going to run this command here, and all these commands are going to be in the description, by the way. All right, so that's then installed. We now have it. So then the next step is to create a folder on your desktop in which you want to run Claude Code. So I'm going to create one here. We're going to do new folder. We're just going to call it test, create, open. Okay, so we're good to go. Yes, I trust the author because it is me. And now we're in a folder that we're going to use for the setup and just the testing of this so we can run it. All right, so next we need to go to OpenRouter and get an API key. So we're going to go there. So OpenRouter is not a free service, though they do have some free models. So you do need to create an API key. And first you need to actually fund your account with some credits. So it's $5, but this is still significantly cheaper than the Anthropic models. So we're going to go ahead and create one here. I'm just going to call it test. Once I've got that, we're going to come over here and you're going to go to notepad.js.org just so you have a text editor to work with real quickly. And what we're going to do is copy this block of code that I provided in the description here. So if we scroll down a little bit, what this is like a quick setup here. So this is just like, so you don't have to screw with environment variables and stuff yourself. It's just an easier way of doing this. So I've got one for Mac and Linux, and then I also have a Windows one here. All right, so you're going to go ahead and copy the one for your system. So I'm on Mac, so I'm going to grab that one, and it's already pasted in here for me. I'm going to get that OpenRouter API key I got in the previous step. I'm going to paste that into this Anthropic auth token environment variable here, making sure not to remove the quotation marks on either side. Now, additionally here, we've got some setup that we can do. So what your options here are to do are you can replace the Opus, Sonnet, and Haiku models in Claude Code with some OpenRouter ones. So you can explore the models offered on OpenRouter here if you want, and then you just copy and paste the name of the model like that. So I've already set this up with just some common open source and cheap models. So we've got GLM5, Minimax, and the cheap version of Gemini 3.1 Flash Lite. Okay, so you can configure those how you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and use these as is. So I'm going to copy and paste this composed block of code right into my IDE. So I'm going to open a terminal and do that. Paste it right in, hit enter. And then what it's going to go ahead and do is you'll see that it's created a .claude folder here just with these environment variables set up for you, and it's also bypassed the onboarding flag for the setup. So when you run Claude and you're now ready to do that, it's not going to do the login. You're going to say, yes, I trust the folder. And then it's going to show you you're ready to go. So you can see that by default, I've got this 3.1 flashlight model selected, but you can use the /model selector to go ahead and do that. And you'll choose the one that's mapped to each of the models. So it's going to say Sonnet, Opus, and Haiku, but you can see we have the mappings in here. So I'm going to stick with Haiku, which is the flashlight model. And then I'm going to give it a command to test it out. So I'm just going to say, give me an index.html web page with hello world and some cool colors. Don't ask me any questions. Just go ahead and do it. I'm going to run that, and it's going to think for a little bit, and then it's going to spit out some HTML. All right, so here it's asking me, do I want to make these edits? I'm going to say to, which is yes, allow them for the duration of the session. And then I'm going to go ahead and open this up here in a live server extension with VS Code, so just so we can see that it worked. And in fact, yes, it did work. We've got hello world, and that hit my OpenRouter API and took some funds. I think there's probably 1 cent or something silly like that. So yeah, we're good to go. So from here, you can use this, and mind you that the way I've got this set up is that these setup codes, essentially these fast setups, you need to run those once per project that you are doing with Claude Code, okay? So you basically have to make sure that in each new folder, you've got this set up in here so that when it runs, it can grab these keys and these models, all right? So from there, the other things I would just note are that there's a lot of models on OpenRouter. Some of these are going to work better or worse with the Claude Code harness, but the ones I provided there in the default setup are going to work decently well. And then there are also some free models in OpenRouter. So right now, the one you might want to use if you're doing this for free would be Qwen 3.6 plus free. So you can use that one if you want to try it. And then the other thing I would recommend is that you come check out arena.ai's leaderboard for code. And you can come in here and just kind of see what models are being evaluated by the community as being the best for this sort of a thing. So you can see actually Qwen 3.6 Plus is pretty good, GLM5 is good, and Minimax is also near the top. All right, so those are pretty good for you. So you're good to go. You can go ahead and do this. And just as a reminder, you need to do this once per new folder that you're using Claude Code in with the setup code so that it can get the environment variables. But then after that, you just need to run the Claude command and it should work as desired. So we've got codes for this in the description for Windows and Mac. Windows users, let me know if you have any issues. Leave me a comment down below. I wasn't able to test it directly, but I tried to translate it directly to PowerShell. I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Thanks.